Monday, January 2nd, 9 a.m., Johnson Street. Another night in the cold. I approached a homeless man warming himself by the fire, but he was unwilling to give me any information, and then he phased through a flaming garbage bin. His display of cosmic power made me uncomfortable, so I left. But not as uncomfortable as the graffiti before me. A clear indication of the low-income housing environment I found myself in. After wandering the streets for some time, I found myself at City Hall. I figured the best way to get myself off these streets is to get myself a job. One spoke out to me. Outsourced arrest for Lambda Enforcer Division. 1,500 crow reward. I took the job. Seemed easy enough. Oddly enough, for having a warrant for this person's arrest, the enforcers gave me little to go off of. 36 years of age, they work at the Trout Social Club, they're an alcoholic, and their partner's first name is Skylar. For having an active warrant, I would have figured that the enforcers had a positive ID on the suspect. Unfortunately, they are inept as always. I grab a bobby pin off the counter, and then buy myself a pair of cuffs to make the arrest. I don't have much to go on, but I at least have a place of work, so I'll start there. Just past the Beefeat Diner, I arrived at the hotel that Perp worked at. Momentarily forgetting about the existence of elevators, I ran up all 9 flights of stairs. I arrived at the Trout Social Club and it was empty. I crouched behind the counter, making my way to the back. I thought for a moment to grab myself a drink for my trouble. And then I was narrowly seen by a laser camera, so I thought better of it. In the back, I found the security room. I stole some spare cash on the counter, and I had some trouble reading this note, but I got there. The password, just what I needed. Actually, it's not locked. But I can use it to open up this safe. Drugs and a diamond. Don't mind if I do. I then began searching the desk, looking for employee records for more information on our perp. Radio chatter. A murder. I thought about leaving now and going to find out what happened, but I figured the enforcers were going to beat me there at this rate, so I figured I'd go ahead and finish my investigation and then go check out that murder. At first, I began making a list of suspects, all the employees I found in these contracts. And there they were. Nayantara Rathi. With a name now, I logged onto the computer to find more information on them. The computer was giving me a hard time printing out the employee file. I got a little frustrated. I'll admit. But I just came back to it. There we go. Picture ID, fingerprint, just what I needed. Finding all the information I think was here, I left the social club and also remembered how to use an elevator. I also closed this door. Knowing our perp's name, I decided to use the city register inside the hotel to see if I can't find their address. Bingo. 1203 Pool Grove. There was a body out there, getting cold by the second. I had no time to lose. I made my way to the perp's apartment and went up through the elevator. "1203 Pool Grove. This is it." I knocked on the door. I could hear them coming. That man is levitating. He's making me really uncomfortable. That also makes me uncomfortable. I was not expecting her to answer the door in her underwear. I asked for her name and she wasn't telling me, but I had a photo ID, so I didn't really need it. As soon as I pulled out my cuffs, she closed the door, but I quickly opened it, slipped behind her, and slapped the cuffs on her. She somehow closed the door with her hands behind her back and locked it. I searched her for weapons and found none, but I couldn't leave the apartment now. Went ahead and filled out my paperwork while I was here. I decided not to bust the door down and look around for a key. I found her wallet on the counter, I stole her money, her key, and then I left. I avoided eye contact with the levitating man. After leaving her apartment, I realized City Hall was right across the street, and yet enforcers couldn't find her. The best of the best. And just like that, a quick 1,500 crows. And I improved my social credit. An easy case. Now, about this murder. .301 Florist Building. I took a slight detour before going to see the body and visited a local pawn shop and sold the pills and the diamond I found. When I arrived on scene, there were 2 enforcers present, of course, doing nothing. I couldn't just barge in past them, so I decided to check this air vent. Perhaps there'd be an entrance into the apartment. There was not. Seeing these enforcers still standing around, I decided to try to make some kind of distraction by throwing things around. But they didn't care. I knocked on this door, not really sure why I did that, and then I decided, well, I could just trigger this alarm. So I did. And they don't care. I do see what looks like a battery and someone's hand phasing through this wall, as well as a demonic symbol scrolled on the ground with blood. I threw this box. This enforcer I thought was going to hit me, but then he just leaned against the wall, and I saw my opportunity to sneak in. So I took it. Never mind the dead body on the ground, this enforcer helped himself to the bathroom. He flushed the toilet while still sitting on it. Gross. At least he washed his hands. Fortunately for me, he didn't stay long, so I quickly went behind him and closed the door. Now I was finally alone and could conduct my investigation. An expended rifle cartridge. I scanned it for prints, but nothing came up. I couldn't identify the victim just yet, but I began to search her. Low-caliber bullet wounds. Cause of death? Large ammunition from a rifle. About 2 hours ago. Type B fingerprint. There were footprints everywhere from the enforcers. They contaminated the crime scene without any care. Another fingerprint. An enforcer? Or perhaps our killer? More bullet casings. I checked them for fingerprints, but unfortunately, I found nothing. A work schedule for Ren Abney, perhaps a roommate. A wrench in a drawer. That's an odd place. High heels, but they don't belong to our victim. Perhaps they belong to Ren. Size 8 boots. These are our victims. Strange. Another tool in a drawer. That's when it hit me. They weren't roommates. They were lesbians. Deer slug ammunition. I checked it for prints. Type C, a match for the ones we found by the door. Was this the roommate or the killer? The nightstand contained a note with the password for the computer. I logged on. and checked her V-mail for anything suspicious. Seems Miss Ren Abney had places to be tonight. A convenient alibi, or perhaps something more sinister. The other bedside table, that I presumed to be Ren's, had a ring on top of it. If they were partners, I found this to be rather strange that she would leave her ring behind. Inside, I also found a business card. I took note of her place of work so I could pay her a visit later on. A bloodhound tracker, odd, and a passcode for Ren. I opened up their safe, and what I found was another diamond and some radioactive heroin. Having Ren's password, I decided to log into her profile to check her email. The same email she sent to Nina from before, and something more strange. An email from Dove, a dating website. Why would someone in a committed relationship be looking for matches on a dating website? Then it all started to come together. The ring on the bedside table, the dating website, missing on the night of the murder with a all-so-convenient alibi. Ren was quickly becoming my top suspect. I checked her profile and was able to get a photo ID on her. Checking around the apartment one more time, I found a crumpled piece of paper inside the bathroom. Let's play. B-Y-A-E-W-N. 2 words. First word is 1 letter. I stared at this longer than I'd like to admit, but eventually, Ren Abney. W. Abney. She might as well have turned herself in. Looking at the time and the schedule I had found for Ren Abney, I saw that she'd be at work right now, so I decided I'd pay her a visit. I stopped at the pawn shop again before going to find Ren so that I could sell the ring and the diamond that I found in their apartment. I also went to City Hall so I could buy another pair of handcuffs to make the arrest. Once I arrived at her place of work, I walked right in. Not knowing where she'd be, I tried to sneak in, try to find her, surprise her. But unfortunately, as I went up the stairs, several employees were making their way down, so I left. And then, there she was, Ren Abney. I wasted no time cuffing her. And her co-workers wasted no time shooting me while another beat me in the head. I ran, looking for a weapon to defend myself. Fortunately, I found a trash can and I began throwing it with reckless abandon. I was cornered. I thought maybe this was it, but I was able to slip away. I picked up the trash can and kept throwing it. One by one, I knocked them unconscious. I left none of them standing. After they were all unconscious, I returned to Ren to see if I could find the murder weapon. There it was, A Falcon rifle. I scanned it for prints. Bingo. I found some rifle ammunition on her as well. Scanning for prints. Another match. I took this time to fill out my paperwork. Unfortunately, I selected the wrong address, but everything else checked out. Before heading off to City Hall, I picked up this ball and I threw it at her face. Twice. I turned in my paperwork for a solid 4 out of 5. Pretty good for my first case. Case solved, and another murderer behind bars. Still bruised and bleeding after being assaulted by her co-workers, I tended to myself this vending machine. I ate a bandage, and I bought myself some pain pills. At this point, I realized I still didn't have a place to stay, so I went back to City Hall to see if they had any apartments available. Just one. Kinda pricey, but I could afford it. So I took it. Finally, a place indoors to sleep for the night. To my surprise, the place was actually mostly furnished. The bedroom looked nice. The kitchen left something to be desired, but at least there was a place to keep food cold. Hot sauce, synth milk, and some synth meat. Not bad. The living room was quite nice. Bookshelves, a safe, sofa, and a TV. The bathroom, however, was completely empty, so I took a moment and I filled it. As for the murder weapon, I decided to store it in my bedroom, a keepsake for my first case. After a long day and 2 solved cases, I was beat. I grabbed my favorite drink from the fridge and sat down for some TV, knowing that at least for now, my city was safe.
You ain't gonna be living much longer. You were riding the elevator in the wrong direction on this one, you hear me? Angel ain't going around icing folks for what they said or did. It's who they were that... Henry, lock the door, you.
キャンター、私たちが話せば人々は耳を